Good afternoon and welcome to FlossTube number 19. My name is Christine. I am CMD586 on Instagram if you are on Instagram, and it is July 2nd, 2018. Many of you may know that I went to StitchCon a week ago, and I am back obviously. And I'm going to talk about StitchCon, believe me. But I'm not gonna do like a full and thorough recap. There's several of those out there right now, and probably more to come. I just won't do as good of a job, and my video is already going to be too long. So if you're looking for, you should visit Sammy J Stitches and In Stitches with Melissa and Amber. Is it always In Stitches with Melissa and Amber? You know who they are. Melissa and Amber. They did a good, like, the side-by-side talk about StitchCon, and so did Minnie Gray. So if you're looking for, like, you want to know exactly what we all got, you know, what came in our freebie bag, and like our welcome bag and stuff like that, the free patterns and, you know, all those things, then I'll be showing you a little of that stuff, but I'm not going to go through all of that. But go see those people. Also, Pam and Steph did a video. Of course, theirs is from a completely different perspective, but there's a lot of good stuff in that. Lots of pictures and clips and yeah, that's not to be missed if you're curious about StitchCon and how it went and what it was like and that sort of thing. And also Polly, Old Dominion Stitcher, she did a vlog type thing. She did several videos while she was at StitchCon, and those are posted. And CrossStitch Chaos did like a live video where she showed the stitching room and the hotel and the trunk shows and everything. So there's several options there, and probably more and more to come. So so I did want to say though, I've heard and read a little bit. Let me see how I can say this carefully. Nobody should be afraid to go to a stitching retreat that involves FlossTube as a focus. There is not at least amongst the FlossTubers I know, and certainly amongst the most popular FlossTubers like Michelle Garrett, Bendy Stitchy, McKenna Stitching in Sequence, Arlene Cohen. I'm just thinking of the ones that were there. Minnie Gray. You know, Jessie Marie, I could go on and on, but there is not a mean girl among them. To my knowledge, there's not a mean girl among FlossTube. There has been some bullying and some unpleasantness, but as far as I know, that has not come from an actual FlossTuber. That's come from people who are not making FlossTube videos, and it definitely has not come from any of the most popular people. I've heard a little bit of people like being worried that they won't fit in, or that they'll face some sort of like high schoolish type rejection because they're not cool enough if they go to something like that. And that is just, it's simply not true. I'm not a super outgoing and social person. I don't have like social anxiety. I think I fall like pretty middle of the road on that stuff. I do have some anxiety, but it's not social anxiety. And so maybe I can't speak to that, but what I can say is that you do not have to be worried. Just come as you are. You do not have to be worried about being rejected or feeling left out at an event, at least not the stitching events that are full of FlossTubers. I can't speak for other types of crafting events or even other stitching events. There may be some snobby people or whatever. But at an event like this, like put on by, you know, well, it wasn't put on by FlossTubers, but you know what I mean, where there will be a lot of FlossTubers there. Although there's some like fangirling stuff going on, and there's some like mutual admiration society, you know, that from the outside may be a little bit intimidating. all of those people are welcoming and kind, and there's no reason to worry that you won't fit in, or that you have to be a certain type of person or be a certain way in order to like not be left out. So there's in FlossTube land, the cool girls are not mean girls. So you know, be whoever you are and you'll be just fine. And for myself, I ended up sitting at a table of, because there were tables of 8, and I showed up on Thursday night, but it was really late, and I met several people, and, you know, Michelle Garrett actually showed up after me. I showed up at just about the same time as the Australian girl. I don't think we flew in together at all, but we arrived at the hotel together. Mitch Stitch, Michelle, from Australia. She was the one who came from the farthest away. I was the one who came from the second farthest away in Alaska. And, sorry, a little allergy-ish this morning. And it was pretty late, but Michelle had some unexpected delays, and she managed to arrive like a couple of hours after we did, which was surprising and sad for her, but she got there. And anyway, but I had some jet lag, and I had trouble getting up the next morning, because even though I was exhausted from a day of travel, I had a really hard time going to sleep. And it was like Cincinnati time, probably 5 in the morning before I went to sleep. And I knew I wanted to get up and get to Keepsakes as fast as possible. I knew they were open at 10, and we had a rental car, so I didn't want to take space on the shuttle. So I went into the stitching room and approached Pam. And I said, I know you guys are, it was almost 10 o'clock. And I said, I know you guys are about to take a rental car, not a rental car, it's the shuttle over to Keepsakes. And I don't want to take up space in that, but I got room for 2 in our, we had a SUV, a rental SUV. And I said, we can fit at least two people, besides me and my husband in that vehicle. And so she made, you know, she yelled to the room, and in like 2 seconds flat, we had 2 people who wanted to come ride with us. Michelle, from Australia, and Jen, from Felicity Stitches, whose name is not Felicity. It's Jen. We all rode over to Keepsakes together. And anyway, where I was going with this is that I didn't actually get settled into the stitching room for actual stitching, because we went over there, and then afterwards they didn't need a ride back because they either rode on one of the shuttles or somebody else had a rental car or whatever. So it just ended up being me and my husband again. So we went out to lunch and got some Starbucks fuel, and I ran back up to the hotel room and grabbed some stitching stuff, and made my way down to the stitching room. It was probably 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and by that point, the room is completely full. Now, if I had a lot of social anxiety, now, of course, it's hard for me to speak to that because I just don't. I'm pretty just comfortable by myself and comfortable with other people, and, you know, I don't worry too much about what other people think of me and stuff like that. So I don't have that, but I have plenty of anxiety. I feel like if I had social anxiety that I would have wanted to show up earlier so that maybe I could get seated at a table by myself and let people fill in around me, or maybe sit at a table that maybe had a couple of people at it. But I didn't have that option. I showed up and the room was loud and full, and I just looked for an empty spot. There were eight spots at each table, and I just made my way into the room, and and it was really funny because, you know, being on FlossTube is weird. People recognize you and you don't recognize them. And like, I walked in the door and I heard people talking about me as I walked in the door. And they were talking about me because we had this passport thing, which I will talk about in a minute. But nevertheless, they were talking about me as I was walking in the door, which is a very strange sensation. But they weren't talking to me; they were talking about me, not to me. So, like I just pretended I didn't hear them. And I kept walking because they didn't have space at their table. So I just made my way, you know, into the room, as quick as I could, found a table that had an empty spot at it. And it was a table that actually didn't have anybody sitting at it, but it had clearly had people sitting at it. All the spots were full except one. And so I just sat my little butt down and got out my stitching and started stitching, and eventually people, the other residents of the table showed up, and I got to meet all of them and stuff like that. No idea who any of them were going to be. All I could tell from them was a few of them had stitching out on the table, so I could see what they were working on. And that's all I knew. It's all the information I had. So, and it turned out just by chance that I didn't know any of the people there, and I think only one of the 7 knew at all who I was. Somebody who had seen some of my videos, I don't know how many, but at least, you know, had watched me, and who I'd actually interacted with on Instagram. But the rest of them were completely unfamiliar to me, and just by chance, it was a pretty quiet table. It was a table of people who really just kind of wanted to sit and stitch, and they weren't none of them were, you know, like the social butterfly type or anything like that, and it was perfectly fine with me. I would have been honestly though, I would have been perfectly fine at any table with anybody. It would have been fine by me. But just to say, none of those people wanted to be, you know, super social, and they wanted to come and sit and stitch kind of mostly quietly. And, you know, we did get to know each other quite a bit, you know, but it was a fairly quiet table, and that was perfectly fine by me. I ended up not spending as much time with some particular people that I thought I might while I was on this trip, but again, that was fine with me. Yeah, I might have been thrilled to spend a little more time with, you know, some of the FlossTubers that I'm familiar with, who I like and who I know watch me as well, but I can see them all the time, and it's fairly easy for me to interact with them all the time. It was really a pleasure to sit with people who I didn't know, and who the only thing we had in common really was stitching, and to get to know them, and to just enjoy stitching side by side with people who share my passion. I had a really lovely time with all 7 of those ladies, and I felt welcomed, and you know, like I could be myself, and it was a good time. Another thing I wanted to say that I particularly liked about this retreat, which I think was a brilliant idea, and I think everybody has said it, and I don't think it's the only retreat I've ever been to, but I don't think other retreats, I haven't heard that other retreats have done it. But they did this thing called Passport, and I don't even think I brought it back with me. But they gave us this booklet. Everybody who registered got a booklet. And what it had in it was a trivia question about each and every FlossTuber who was in attendance. And all of the FlossTubers who were in attendance were given a pile of stickers. And the point of this it was called a passport, and you were supposed to go around the room and talk to the FlossTubers and get their stickers. Like, figure out if you knew who they were, great. If you didn't, you know, figure out who was who, and by their trivia question, and collect a sticker. And if you filled your passport, then you could turn it in you would show it and be entered into a drawing for just those people who filled out their whole passport, and there'd be a prize. And I actually didn't fill mine in. I filled in like half of it. I thought it was a wonderful idea. But I was really pretty content. Like, I really wanted to stitch, and I was pretty content to just sit with the ladies at my table and stitch. And you know, I was happy to give away my stickers, but I didn't really, I did go around the room a little bit and talk to people sort of incidentally here and there, but I didn't feel the need to try to win this prize. But if I was not a FlossTuber, if I was a FlossTube viewer and I wanted to meet FlossTubers, the wonderful thing about the passport is it gives you this perfect excuse to walk around to talk to perfect strangers who you've only seen on videos, and to be comfortable doing so, because you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. Nobody's going to say, why are you talking to me? You don't have, not that they would anyway, but you don't have to worry about that because you are doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be walking around and talking to people and getting their stickers. So, so it was really wonderful in that respect. Again, I didn't really feel the need to do it because I am a FlossTuber. And, you know, everybody kept coming to me. Oh, you're the Alaskan one, because my trivia question was something about me being from the 49th state. And I was just proud that I knew what the 49th state was. And then I realized that was me when I saw it in there, because I forgot to give them a trivia question, so they made one up. And so, like, I ended up like, oh, you're the Alaska one, you know, and I would just answer to Alaska, you know, by not too very long. I kept hearing Alaska, you know, but it was fun because it gave other people, anybody who wanted to meet me, could do so, and I got to meet quite a few people, and I didn't even have to get out of my chair. And most of them who came by, if they were a FlossTuber, they brought their stickers too, and they gave me a sticker as well, except Julie Mikado. Julie Mikado came by, and she's like, no, you can't, I'm not going to give you a sticker. You have to come over and see me if you want a sticker. And I didn't. But she was a lovely person. But I just didn't personally care about filling in the passport part, but I thought it was a wonderful idea. And I'm sure there must have been some other FlossTubers who didn't care about filling in their passport either, because there were plenty of, other than Julie, who did get my sticker and I didn't get hers, there were quite a few holes in my passport that didn't get filled in. So not everybody came by and asked me for a sticker, but I don't think that was the point anyway, because like it was really like I said, I feel like I get everything I want out of like some of these people whose faces I see on videos all the time, because I've got their videos to watch. It was really a joy and a more rare thing to be able to interact with some of the people who like you've talked to, like have commented on your videos and stuff, who you've talked to that way, or maybe you've talked to briefly in Stitch Mania or whatever, whose names you know, but whose faces you didn't. And, you know, so the passport was really a brilliant idea. Every retreat, especially large retreat where you're dealing with, you know, 100 or more people. There was 141, I think, attendance all told. To give just this excuse, this valid reason for going and seeking somebody out and talking to them. And so that was really great. Anyway, okay. So, I'm going to keep talking about FlossTube throughout this video, because I'm going to talk about stuff I got, and oh boy, did I spend money at StitchCon. But I also got some things that aren't StitchCon related, and I'm going to talk about WIPS, and so FlossTube, the CrossStitch, what am I saying? StitchCon will keep coming up. But, okay, so let's talk about stuff I got. First, let's talk about the stuff I got that is not from StitchCon, because StitchCon is the bulk of it. So I'll talk about the miscellaneous stuff. So I got, right before, I believe it was, oh yeah, no, it was easily. It was before I left for StitchCon. I got the next batch of threads from 3 All Threads, and it's the 10 yard skeins from Guest that I'm doing. So I have cranberry. Man, you know, Guest just has some great reds. This is another great red from Guest. And Country Redwood, another great one with some reds and browns. Bittersweet. Look at that. Look at those. Some of those darker oranges, the burnt oranges. Cotton Candy. This is pinker than it looks, but it's a lot of white and a little bit of pink. Not as pink as I would think it would be, but you know, it's not bad though. Brick Path, that's kind of nice. I like that. Creek Bed, I really like this. This is unusual. These browns and greenish and grayish blues. I really like that. Yeah, I like that a lot. That's very unique. Cornflower. Crystal Lake. Cottage Blue. It almost bears some resemblance to Creek Bed, except it's the Creek Bed one is just darker, but it's like a subtler version of that. And Corn Husk. So we got cornflower and we got corn husk. Sorry, there's a private joke in there that I'm laughing at. Okay, so those, I'm not going to put them back. Those are the latest batch of Trisha threads. Okay. So I got this. There's a story here. I got this a while back. This came free in one of my batches of free things from Pamela Hoover McIntosh at Stitcher's Paradise on Facebook. And I wasn't going to stitch this. I was going to give this away to the freebie table at StitchCon, and then I was like packing up stuff to take to StitchCon, and I took a closer look I don't know how I missed it before, but I took a closer look. This is called, well, it's Heartstrings, a Kringle Calendar August. It doesn't really have a name other than August, Kringle Calendar August. But the Mill Hill treasure in this says lighthouse. That isn't a lighthouse. If your mind's not in the gutter, fine. Some people might think it looks like a candle. Some people might think it actually looks like a lighthouse. That is not a lighthouse. I'm stitching that. And I was like, oh, please let that Mill Hill treasure look exactly like what it looks like on there and let it still be available. And it is. It's available on 123 Stitch. And I showed that to my husband, and I didn't even have to give him the story. I showed him that, and he's like, oh my God, you got to stitch that. Because Santa is holding a lighthouse. That is one dirty Santa. Anyway, so I went to 123 Stitch and I looked up this Mill Hill lighthouse. Well, when they still have it, it really doesn't look like a lighthouse on the not on the 123 Stitch website either. I can't wait. Oh my God. Oh my God. Dirty Santa. This is happening. So, and it also calls for some Kryneck number 4 braid and some Mill Hill Petite glass beads. And then the rest of it is DMC, but yeah, that's I don't know. It's probably too big for a Christmas ornament. It looks like it'd be too big for a Christmas ornament, because in order for the lighthouse to fit in his hand appropriately, I can't do it on a real fine count or over 1 or anything like that. It might be even more funny, but no. Anyway, I'm going to do that one. I'll give it away when I'm done, but not until I'm done. So that lighthouse is sitting in my 123 Stitch cart for the next time I make a purchase. I'm not just going to order a little mini sex toy from 123 Stitch. We got to have more coming than that. So, okay. So then my friend Carla Eldridge, she is on FlossTube. She did a video a couple of weeks ago, and she has talked about these floss pad things that she has made for herself, and I had encouraged her to make them and sell them and told her I would buy some. And I don't know if I managed to be her first customer, but as soon as I found out they were for sale, I bought them. The deal with these is they're not just cute. She has all kinds of colors and stuff, but I kind of like the orange checked. So I kind of wanted something plain-ish. So I ordered these, and these are smaller than she intended them to be. So her future ones will probably be bigger, but these are, I believe these were only $5 a piece. And the idea with these is you put threads on them. I should have come prepared. But she's got a video, Carla space Eldritch, Carla with a C. Where you can, you know, the Bitsy Bobs are kind of like this, except the Bitsy Bobs are more like complex. But this is the same idea where as you're stitching, you can put your loose threads and stuff. If you're lazy like I am a lot of times and things are kind of floating around, you can put them on this and they will stay there. And so if it falls off your table or off your lap or whatever, your thread won't go everywhere. And so these little itty bitty ones, I think were $5 a piece, plus a couple bucks shipping, on her Etsy store. So, and she is, I don't know if she does yet because I haven't looked, but she's going to have larger ones. So, anyway, I really like these, and it was really nice to buy from my friend who used to live here in Juneau and doesn't anymore. Okay, so I also got, I got a project bag. I got it for free. I did a little model stitching. And I'm saying it like that because I've said before I shouldn't do model stitching. I've done model stitching before, but you know, deadlines, blah, 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 don't really work for me. But something came up and I was like, okay, I'll do that. I mean, I make it sound like I was begged to do it. I wasn't. The opportunity came up and I, you know, stuck my hand up and said, sure. Because it was something small. It was you know, I gave in to temptation. I knew it would probably only take me a few days. And so I went ahead and did it. And for doing that, I got the pattern for free. And I got this project bag that was made for me. And I'll show you the pattern and give you the details of the pattern because it just brand new became available. So I'm just now allowed to do that. I'll show you the project and stuff like that in a bit. But this was my prize for doing the work for them. It's got plain black fabric in the middle. I think it's beautiful. I'm real excited about that. I was able to pick the fabric from a selection that the person had, and I love it. I'm really happy. I really like this. So I will definitely be making use of that. Okay, so now, let me make sure I took care of all the Oh, also, I can't show it to you, but Mr. X Stitch, he has that great magazine, and I didn't know that you could get them digitally. I had been hesitant to get them. I wanted them, but, and I'd prefer to have real physical copies, but I just didn't really want to pay and wait for shipping and all that stuff. I'd been like putting off getting them. And then I got an email from, I think it's Peacock and Fig. I'm on their email list, and I got an email from them mentioning that they had a pattern in the latest Mr. X Stitch Green, I think, magazine. And they happened to mention that these were all available for download as digital magazines. So you save some money because they're less expensive as digital downloads, and you certainly save the weight and you save shipping costs. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get those. And I don't remember what I paid each for the magazine. I won't say because I don't remember and I don't want anybody to get excited about a price. But it was a good price because these are good magazines. They're big magazines with a fair number of patterns in them and good articles. And I got all 4 of them, and I was very happy with what I paid for them, whatever that was. And anyway, so I got all of those. So if any of you did not know that they are available for digital download, and that makes a difference to you, please go investigate, because they are. And I'm really happy I got them. And there are quite a few designs in there that I would like to do, but I have too much to do, especially after StitchCon. So, but someday I will be getting out one of those. There's a few in there that I really am itching to do. So, but they're good magazines and they have really good articles. And one of these nights in bed, I'm going to lay there and read some of the articles because I haven't yet. Anyway, so there's that. And then I think everything else I got at StitchCon. So, we got several free patterns, And I'm only going to show, including a StitchCon logo and something by Sue Hillis and something by Julie McConnell and like several good free patterns. But one of them, like I saw it and I was like, I've got to do that. And not that all of them weren't great, but just one of them really, really spoke to me immediately. And I've already started working on it. And so I'll show that in my WIP portion. But this, I love this, Fireworks on the 4th. And it is by Stone Street Stitchworks. It's all DMCs. And yeah, got it for free. But it is available on the Stone Street Stitchworks Etsy shop. I want to say it was $6 for the pattern. So, you know, very doable on your own if you love this. Not an exclusive to us, just in it. But it does say StitchCon 2018 on the bottom of it. So we got it for free, but you can buy it. So there's that. So I got that for free. Other things that I got for free. There's a freebie table. Sorry, things are not as organized as I maybe would like them to be. There is a freebie table. And there was an enormous amount of stuff on this freebie table and under this freebie table. And I didn't even look through it thoroughly. I went to it a few times throughout the weekend. And I did pick up a few things. But, I mean, there was just so much. And I put down a lot of things because, you know, I knew I was going to be buying and already packing a lot and, you know. So, but I did pick up 5 things and I'm almost a little self-conscious showing them because, I mean, there was a lot of really old stuff on that table. But, you know, you just never know when something is going to speak to you. And just because something's old, that doesn't mean it's bad. I mean, there were lots of geese in clothing and, you know, lots of old things. But for whatever reason, these things called to me and this is what I got. So I'm not going to be ashamed to show you. So I got these. These are satin stitch ornaments on perforated paper. I like working on perforated paper. I'm always looking for Christmas ornaments for a Christmas tree. And these are all, and one of the reasons I got this, well, one of the reasons why the book caught my eye is because these look a little heart hanger-ish. It's certainly not heart hanger, but that is that's the kind of what they remind you of. They're satin stitch on perforated paper. Super easy to do. And so I couldn't resist it. And it's a whole book. It's got 18, 20, 22 different ornaments for the Christmas tree that you can make on perforated paper. And I know it doesn't look like much from this like bright red cover, and goodness knows when this was put out. Let me see. It doesn't tell me. Write or call for a free catalog. Oh, it does say, it's by Susan L. Meyer and Rosalind K. Watnemo. And there is, it says all the materials are from Nordic Needle Ink. Write or call for a free catalog. And, copyright 1991. It's actually not as old as I thought it was. I was going to say like the mid-80s. But nevertheless, it doesn't matter how old the book is. So some of these would be beautiful on perforated paper. And I'm sure when I make them and show them, you will have no idea, unless you remember this video, that it came from a really old book. Okay, then I got this, I have yet to make a stocking, but I keep wanting to. And I've always liked this. I also have kind of a thing for old trains, old like vehicles and stuff. I don't know. I was a tomboy when I was a little kid. I, played with trucks and trains and cars, and I don't know if that's where it comes from. I don't have any idea. My son was really into trains when he was little, so maybe that's it. But I got this one. And yeah, so just because I like the train. And Stony Creek Designs are always, Stony Creek Designs. If you've ever done one, you know what I'm saying. They're always more than they seem they're going to be. You know, more details, more backstitch, more cry neck, you know, whatever. Okay, and the next thing I got was I got the Firehouse. 1989 from Cappy Originals. And there's actually 7 designs, even though you see 8 pictures. This one is repeated on the back. And actually, I mean, again, old-fashioned vehicles are a thing for me. The one that made me, I put this up and I picked it up and I put it down and I picked it up and I put it down. But the one that I like, that just really kept sucking me in, is this one. This steamboat and the old fire truck drawn by the horses, and yeah, I don't know. There's something about it. But I actually like all of the designs. But I don't know that I'll do it, but there's something about that steamboat one. Yeah, 1989 by Cappy Originals. Pretty decent readable charts. Hand drawn, but they're black and white. Looks like basically DMCs. I don't think there's any DMCs with anchor conversions. I don't see any like Krynic or anything like that. A fair amount of backstitching, lots of details. Yeah, I don't know. There's something about it that really called to me. And then one of my least favorite magazines, but nevertheless, I got this one for this cover. I'm not even that big on flowers and butterflies, but there's something about this one. The desert shall rejoice, and blossom as the rose. I don't even know why I like it, but I do. So that's why I got that one. And there's most of what else is in here. There's some Hardanger, some like semi-easy looking Hardanger, as Hardanger goes. There's some things that other people might like in here. And there's this thing's just weird. It's a carousel rabbit, and it's funky looking. Like, he's just weird looking. I would not stitch him, except maybe as a joke, but he's too much hard work to be a joke. He's crazy looking. Yeah, a very horsey looking rabbit. But anyway, yeah. Yeah, I don't know if I'll ever do that, but because I don't know why I like it, but for whatever reason that called to me, and I had to get it. Okay, and then I got Chocolate Memories. It's Hershey's, like Hershey's advertising stuff, 1983. I got it for this one. I do like old advertisements. I like food. I don't like Hershey's now. They're a crap brand. But, you know, in the history, they were interesting. So I really like it for that. I kind of like that, but I probably wouldn't do it. But I want to do that. This is just weird to me. I can't tell if it's a woman or a child or what it is coming out of a cocoa bean, but it's strange. I won't do that one. I can tell you that. But this one, that's why I got it. So there's that. So that's what I got from the freebie table. Then there was a smalls exchange, and that was amazing because a huge number of people participated, which just made it super special. I would say like a good, like maybe 70% of people who came participated in the smalls exchange. It was loud and chaotic and beautiful, and they, you know, you turn in your small and it was to be wrapped and to say who it was from, who made it and stuff like that in it. And then, you know, they did kind of like a Dirty Santa type thing, except you didn't trade. but where you go up and you pick up, your number gets called and you go up and you pick a package that you don't know who it's from or whatever. Anyway, and then afterwards we were to go around and try to find who had ours, or the person who stitched the one we got. And I couldn't find the person. I was kind of walking around a little bit. Again, not really a social butterfly, but I walked around a little bit, and so far, and didn't see. I didn't know. I had the name of, but I didn't know who was the person who stitched the one I received. And let me show you that, because it's beautiful. And it's from Stacy Orrs. Oh, let me get out. A card came with it. Oh, I hope I have the card with me. I have the card. I just don't know if oh yes, I did. I brought it back with me. I have the card. So it came with this little card that she said Stitch Friend on it. And because she didn't know who it was going to. And a pretty card. And inside she says, "So hope you like this pin keep. I really enjoyed stitching this. Love the colors." And she told me what it's called, and I neglected to write down. I put all my personal information, but I neglected to write down what the item was. And it's Topiary in Bloom, Reward of Merit pin keep is apparently the title, and it's by Blackbird Designs. I've never stitched a Blackbird design, although many of them do call to me. She stitched it on 30 count R&R Reproductions Apple Brown Betty, which is a lovely neutral Apple Brown Bindi linen. And the person who did it is, well, I'm saying Stacy Hours, but now I think it's Stacy Hours, or Ors, O-U-R-S. Yeah. For a minute I thought that O might be a D, but from looking at the rest of her writing, I'm pretty sure that's Stacy Hours. Stacy, if you're watching my video, you can make sure I got it right. Stacy Hours, who lives in Ohio. And this is it. Isn't that beautiful? And it says pin keep on the bottom. And it's a Blackbird design, and it says 2018 on it, so I know when I got it. And it's really beautiful, and she backed it in some great purple fabric. Yeah, really lovely. And the person, so anyway, I went back to my table and just kind of like looked around and watched people as they were walking and stuff. But and Stacy found me. And then a few minutes later, the person who got my my Biscornus, my wonky Biscornu and my good Biscornu, but they got them both, found me too. And who got that was Amber. Oh my gosh, I hope I've got that right. Earlier I mentioned Melissa and Amber, who do the in stitches, the side-by-side videos. Anyway, it was Amber that got mine, and it was really sweet, because she had watched my video where I talked about them, and so it was like extra special to me that she as soon as she saw them, she knew what she was getting. She knew she was getting a wonky one. Too. But I had neglected to, I put all my personal information in there, but I had neglected to put like the pattern and stuff like that. So so I gave her that. She asked me for the information on the good one, and I gave it to her. So and the other one is a great pattern. It's a free pattern, which I talked about in a previous video. So maybe she already knew that, but no less of a good pattern. It's just that I made a wonky Biscornu out of it. But hey, sip of coffee. Hang on. Sipping it out of my I do not care mug today. Not because I'm feeling snarky or anything, because I'm not, but just because it's big. Okay, so then they had a bunch of raffles, a bunch of giveaways. that basically all you had to do was be there, be a StitchCon, be at StitchCon, and not be one of the people involved in planning it. And they had a bunch of, you know, shops and designers and stuff, people donating stuff to so that they could do some drawings and people might win. And they did 24 giveaways, and I was one of the lucky 24 to win something, and I was super thrilled. And I think I have a picture of this. I'm pretty sure I took a picture of it, so I'm going to insert a picture right here of what I won. The traveling practicality, like I had to take stuff out of the basket, and I didn't keep the basket because the basket I don't think was particularly precious, and I just took the important part, you know, what I got, like the patterns and stuff. So I won the Sue Hillis basket, and I was super excited. And my husband had just like a few minutes later been in the room because he wanted to get the room when it was really chock full of people. And I was like, I texted him at one point at like 8:30 or something, and I texted him and I was like, get down here if you want a room full of people, come down here now and take some video. And he did. I didn't even see him, and he took some video of the room, and which, you know, maybe you'll see in this segment that he does, maybe you won't, I don't know. And then he left. And like 2 minutes later, my name was called, and I won this great prize. And I texted him, and I was like, I won something. And yeah, I sent him the picture, so I'm pretty sure I have the picture. And he's like, I was just there. And I was like, darn it, you missed it. But anyway, that was not the point anyway, so that's okay. You know, I didn't take a lot of pictures and stuff at this event because I really just wanted to experience it, and you know, taking pictures and videos and stuff is great, but sometimes it can, for me, sometimes if it becomes the focus, then I hide behind the camera and I don't, or the phone or whatever, instead of like really interacting with people and enjoying myself to the fullest. So I didn't concentrate on taking pictures. So I got the Sue Hillis basket, and it was a basket full of Sue Hillis stuff, and it came with some candy, and the basket, which I didn't keep the basket, came with some candy, like some candy canes. It was a Christmas basket, and came with some candy canes and stuff like that, and then it came with, I want to say, like 9 patterns, and I'm going to show you what patterns it came with. And I don't have any of them. Sue Hillis had a trunk show there, and there was some Sue Hillis stuff at Keepsakes, and I like Sue Hillis, but for whatever reason, I didn't purchase any Sue Hillis. I kept looking, and I kept thinking, you know, she has got quite a few patterns that appealed to me, but for whatever reason, I just chose not to purchase anything Sue Hillis while I was there, with all the opportunities I had. But I won this basket. And so let me show you. Well, okay. So bringing home the tree. That's cute. And peace and candy canes. It says Merry Christmas, peace, love, joy, and candy canes. That's really cute. Oh, and Sue Hillis was at the event, and it was real. She's a funny lady. I don't know that I actually talked to her like in person, but she's a really neat lady. I heard her and I saw her. I don't know if she saw me, but I heard her and I saw her, and I enjoyed her. It's Christmas. It's Christmas. Hang stockings, bake cookies, deck the halls, trim the tree, count snowflakes, eat candy canes, drink hot cocoa, wrap gifts, sing carols, and spread good cheer to all. And it also has several options for making little ornaments instead of making the whole shebang in one. That's cool ideas. A wintry mix. Several patterns. Sorry, I was looking at it. A wintry mix, some very elegant looking designs. I think I would probably make those into ornaments because I really like, not that my finishing would look anything like that. But I would probably make this into ornaments. I like the way they look as ornaments. Yeah. Oh, I'll show this one last. It's the most wonderful time of the year. When what to my wondering eyes should appear but 10 extra pounds on hips, thighs, and rear. That's cute. I like the humor in Sue Hillis designs. I really like the humor. And I like stitching words, and she's got a lot of words in her designs. Santa's Christmas list. Number 1, wider chimneys. Number 2, better hours. And number 3, fat-free cookies. It's cute. This one I almost bought a while back, but didn't. Rudolph, coming soon to a rooftop near you. Yeah. Okay, and then this one I held off showing you for a reason. I love those. Again, my finishing would look nowhere near that amazing. But the reason I held off showing you is because in addition to that, and this I didn't even unwrap, but I will now. I wanted to keep it protected. Sorry for the crinkle. Not sorry. No apologies. But look. A professionally finished version. Oh, it's so adorable. Oh my gosh. Love it. You know, speaking of which, what I also want to do, I want to buy these sleighs and do something like this, although I'm real intimidated by that finishing, but you know, even if it doesn't look as good as that, it doesn't matter. But the sleds are Foxwood Crossings. But the other things I want to do those sleds where the designs are on perforated paper. Those are much less intimidating. I want to do those too. I do want to do these because I love these Sue Hillis designs. I do want to do them. I'm just a little bit doubtful about my ability to make them look real nice. Okay, so I believe that is everything I got for free in one way, shape, or another at StitchCon. I spent every dime I was allowed to spend. I won't even tell you how much. You can kind of take a guess from what I'm about to show you. But I spent every dime plus $2.60. I went to Keepsakes once and went twice. The first time I went in, it was overwhelming. Like, I think they were laughing at us as we went in. I'm pretty sure they were laughing good-naturedly at us as we walked in, because it was like you walk in and many of us don't have local needlework shops. I have a Joanne. That is it. And but I've been in a couple of other local needlework shops elsewhere. All of them wonderful. But this place, just the presentation is amazing. You know, we all talk about how bad cross-stitch photography is and stuff like that. Models everywhere you look. Not just, you know, beautifully stitched on amazing fabric and hanging on the walls everywhere, but wonderfully finished and creatively finished and just wow. You walk in and basically it's a house that's been converted to a store, and you walk in and like you're just hit with all of it. And I walked in intending to spend money. My plan was to go to Keepsakes, then go to the trunk show, and then go back to Keepsakes, and which is what I did. But on the first morning in Keepsakes, I almost didn't buy anything because I was just like, I couldn't decide what to look at or what I wanted. I knew I wanted fabric, but I don't know. There was something that was intimidating about the whole situation. Not because they did anything wrong. It's just, you know, when everything looks amazing, it's sometimes hard to like buckle down and decide what you really want. But I spent some money. I spent a good chunk of money that day, and as did many other folks. And I can't remember what I got the first day and what I got the second day, but I spent a good chunk of money. And then I went to the trunk show, and I spent another good chunk of money at the trunk show. And then I had a certain amount of money left, still a very good chunk of money. And I had overnight to like think about it and to like sort of mull over what I'd seen. And my major goal for the trip was to get fabric. And I'd already got a few pieces of fabric between the first trip to Keepsakes and the trunk show. But I knew I really, really wanted fabric. And so I thought about it, and I went back the next day to Keepsakes, and it was a little bit slower. And I just really went to the fabric room. I went to the fabric room, and I talked to, I think his name is Joe. He's Barbara's husband, and he was helping out with the fabric. And what a lovely person. He was so helpful, and he smiled the whole time. He was kind and, you know, just a nice, patient guy. It was, you know, it was pretty chaotic, but he had a good time, and it showed. And, you know, I'm sure he wasn't sad to see us all go, but he was really nice, and it was good to interact with him. And I spent all my money because he was patient with me and helpful and all of that. So I went and I looked at the fabric, and I looked at the 28, and I looked at the 32, and I looked at the 36, and I looked at the 40 count fabric. I just looked through all the bins, and I grabbed everything that I thought I wanted, and had him start cutting it for me and started adding it up. And when I'd gotten at least some of the fabric, I either got fat quarters or fat halves. And when I got through a couple were a little bit smaller than that, but not because I didn't want more, but because that's all they had. Fat quarters and fat halves. And when I got through everything and I was adding things up on my calculator, and we were getting a discount for being at this event, and I added it all up, and I had, I was satisfied with what I had for fabric. And then I was like, okay, well, now I'm just going to go look around and buy patterns. And so when I got to the register, the only thing I couldn't figure out really was tax, because I didn't know. I'm sure I could have Googled it, but I didn't know how much tax was locally. So I got up to the register, and it got rung up, and it was $2.60 over my goal. And I wanted to spend every dime I had to spend. That was the plan, was to stock up on fabric, and then who knows what else, but primarily to stock up on fabric. So I managed to do that. So I'm going to show you first the non-fabric things I got while I was there. I got, and I swear I bought something, but I didn't manage to not come home with it. I bought a thread keep too while I was there, because I like those. And I picked one up the first day, and it didn't come home with me. And I don't know if it stayed in the shop, or if I left it in the hotel room, or dropped it in the rental car, or what, but I didn't get it. So, and it was like $14, but you know what? Oh well. So that's okay. But anyway, so the patterns I got this Mill Hill, because I love Mill Hill. Mill Hill buttons and beads, enchanted pumpkin. This is on an orangey purple perforated paper, light orange with darker orange floss and black floss, and black and orange beads, a few different beads. They had it stitched up in the store. They had it stitched up where they didn't stitch up the orange. They put it on an orange fabric and stitched it up. It just stitched the black. And I'm not going to do that though. It looked beautiful, but I'm going to go. I like stitching on perforated paper. So, and it's easy to finish. So I'm going to stitch it on just as is. So there's that. And then I bought Dreaming of Sunflowers by Rosewood Manor, because y'all know I love Rosewood Manor, right? And I've got a little bit of a thing for sunflowers too. So this is all DMC that it calls for. I believe it's all DMC. I don't think there's any metallics or anything else. Yeah, just DMC. This is by Arlene Cohen, whose works by ABC on Etsy, and this is great. I am super excited about this. It's all DMC, but it is this is a great pattern. There are several specialty stitches. It's mostly cross stitch, but there's several specialty stitches. I love specialty stitches. And there's a lot of like handwritten details and stuff, like helpful descriptions and things in this pattern. This is my first Arlene Cohen, and I'm really impressed by the pattern quality of this. So, and the instructions with the specialty stitches and stuff. I'm really excited to start that one. And it won't be hard to get it started because it's basically I don't think there's any Kreinik or anything. I think it's all DMC. So so I'm excited about that one. I got my first La Di Da, Something Wicked This Way Comes. You all know I love Halloween stuff. I also love the Something Wicked. I also love Something Wicked This Way Comes. I know it's Shakespeare, but I think of Ray Bradbury, one of my favorite books, and as an adult, one of my favorite books. As a kid, one of my favorite movies. So, yeah, looking forward to doing that. This one always catches my eye, so I finally got it. The only holdup on this one is the fabric. I might try to hand dye some fabric for this. I might play around and see if I can get an acceptable color. My skills are not great yet, so I probably won't end up with what I want for this. So I may just have to order fabric for that, because it's got to be done on it could be done on quite a few different things, but I think it catches my eye because of that bright green fabric, and so I think I got to do it on that. So and I got my first Cricut collection. There's a lot of Cricut collections I like. I like a lot of the ones that have words and stuff, the monthlies and the holidays and stuff like that. But I like this one, and I'm laughing at myself because I saw the model and I was like, and this is a crap picture, but I saw the model and I was very excited by the model. I did not realize there's like 10 different kinds of Kreinik in this sucker, and I will get them all and I will do it. But I didn't. I thought this was going to be an easy, you know, looks a little primish actually, but nope, not when you start reading what's in it. And then I got two, I think they're Italian designs. Cori Battacore. First one is Santa Claus Montgolfier. I'm going to take it out of here so you can see it better. It is Santa Claus in a hot air balloon and little balloons for all the reindeer. And oh my gosh, I don't know why. I've never been in a hot air balloon. I don't even really have a desire to go in a hot air balloon, but hot air balloons, man, this will be my fourth. Once I get going on it, it'll be my fourth WIP involving a hot air balloon. I need to finish some of them. But also, it says Merry Christmas on the banner in there, but they also provide a French banner and an Italian banner. So I can't decide how I'm going to do it. It's an Italian design. At least I think I'm right about that. It's an Italian design. And so I feel like I should do, yeah, it is an Italian design, and it's Italian, Italian is the other language, Italian, French, and English for the sign. And I wouldn't do the English because Merry Christmas, that's boring, right? I have a thing for French, so I might do French, but I kind of feel like doing Italian since it's an Italian design. And I've got, like, I don't feel any need to, you know, stay super loyal to the English language. And then I got another by the same designer, Halloween in Quilt. You know me. The Halloween is always an easy sell for me. I'm not going to put it back. Northern Expressions needlework. I don't have any Northern Expressions needlework, and this design I have looked at many, many times and thought about buying, and so I finally did. Star Spangled Banner. I just love like the specialty stitches and stuff in that. I really love that. So, got that one. I got a Just Nan. I think if I do this in one, I'll give it to my mother. I don't know. Like, it called to me, but like purples and pinks and flowers and lace and stuff aren't really my thing. This is the Just Nan. It does come. It comes with the bead pack. But it'll probably be a while before I get to it because it calls for. I mean, it's got a DMC list, but you know me. It calls for Soie d'Alger and Au Ver Soie, and I just I don't even have a good place to get that stuff. If anybody has a place where they order that stuff and wants to tell me what that is, share that with me, please do, because I would love to get online and order all of that stuff from whoever the standard is. I looked at Keepsakes while I was there because I had another pattern that calls for Au Ver Soies, I think. I have a Jeanette Douglas pattern that calls for a bunch of stuff that I can't get at like 1-2-3 Stitch. And I already asked 1-2-3 Stitch about some of that stuff, and they said no, that they weren't going to carry it or order it for me. And it comes with there's a little bit of, there's some sort of silk in there. I'll have to, before I order all this stuff, I'll have to see what that is in there, because there is something in there that looks like maybe a variegated silk, and so I'll have to find out. See that? What that is? Obviously all the beads and embellishments otherwise are in here, but I don't know what that silk is, so I'll have to make sure I don't order that one. So I'll have to look more closely before I get online and try to order. But that one I think would definitely go to my mother. She likes purples and flowers and birds, and it's very old-fashioned looking, but I'll very much enjoy doing it, but it'll go to her when it's done. I got my first Silver Creek sampler, Coastal Cola. Is that what it's called? I'm calling it that. Yeah, Coastal Cola, it says on the back. And it says, refreshing Coastal Cola, sip and see. There is something about this. I'm not a big into beachy patterns, but there is something about this that I love. I do kind of like sandcastles. Maybe another time I'll tell you a story about sandcastles. For me, they have a special place in my heart. But I like old advertisements, and there's just, I like the font, and I love that the seagull is sipping out of the straw. I know straws are bad for the environment, but it's just quirky. I love the seagull sipping out of the straw. Hopefully he doesn't carry it off into the ocean with him. Or, get it stuck somehow. Okay, and finally, I bought this. This is one of the first things I picked up in Keepsakes, a Halloween silhouette. It's obvious. It's an obvious choice for me. And I started it at the tail end of, I'd brought up like a pile of DMC 310 with me in case, because I didn't want to take my whole cone with me. So I, took some off my cone just in case I needed it for something. And I started this at the tail end of StitchCon, and we'll get to that in my whips. Okay, whips and finishes. Okay, so we are at 1 hour and 9 minutes, and I haven't even talked about my whips, but here we go. This video is however long it is. So, before I left, oh crap, did I not? I hope I brought this. Okay, I'm gonna have to pause you. Okay, I'm back. So before I went, on my last video, pardon me. Before I went to StitchCon, I'm pretty certain that I had told you I did some fabric dyeing. Yeah, told you I did some fabric dyeing, and I believe I had just barely started something on my fabric that I was going to do, and I'll look and see where it was when last you saw it before I post this video. So you should see a picture right here of where it was when you last saw it, because I'm pretty certain I had it started because I think I talked about the possibility of taking this with me to StitchCon, which I didn't end up doing because but I was working on some orange fabric that I had dyed myself, and I was making Fire Burn and Cauldron Bubble by Ink Circles, and I was doing it over 1 on 32 count, and this is how far I got. It looks a little messy down here because the reason I stopped working on it was because I had to frog, and usually what happens when I frog, if I have to frog a good chunk, which actually this is a good little chunk on over 1, and over 1 frogging is, you know, really not fun. It kills my desire to work on that piece. So I frogged it out and then didn't want to work on it anymore. But this is how far I got. This is really beautiful. Yeah, I'm pretty certain I showed some of these to you before. I just can't remember where it was. So I'll have to look back at my last video and find out where it was when last you saw it. So there's that. I worked some more on that. I'm still like thinking about making a biscornu of it, which will require stitching it twice. But I really think that's what I want to do. I'm pretty darn into biscornu right now. So I worked on that, and then I had to frog, and it killed my interest in it, so I set it aside. And the next thing I got out was my Jupiter's Moon, my Haid that I'm doing for my husband. I just have to laugh every time I say that because I am never going to finish this thing. It's like just my meditative project. I just sit and I work on it. It's never going to get done. But anyway, here's a picture of where it was when last you saw it. I almost took this with me to StitchCon because I'm pretty sure I could see it well, but I worked on it and I kind of burnt out on it. So after a few days, I didn't want to work on it anymore, so that solved that problem. I didn't take it to StitchCon. Sorry for all of the hanging threads, but I'm using Blitz Stitch's method, which, you know, plus parking in general creates dangling threads. Doing it 1 over 1 on 22 count. Full cross. I'm going to start another rather large full coverage piece, not a Haid, but it might as well be. Because my friend Carla Eldridge always sucks me into things. She doesn't do it on purpose. It's not her fault, even though I'm blaming her. There's with her one of the groups she's involved in, not her group, one of the groups she's involved in unconventional cross stitch. Unconventional cross stitch on Etsy. They have a lot of full coverage pieces. Anyway, they also have a Facebook group that's just for stitching their designs. Anyway, they're doing a 10-day marathon thing where you count your stitches. And I didn't have any unconventional cross-stitch patterns, but I want to participate with Carla, and, you know, I also like the counting stitches thing, the marathoning thing. I don't know that I'll get 10 days, but whatever. I tend to be sort of monogamous, and so I'll do what I feel like, but I want to participate. I'll show the pattern I got for that for next time, but I'm thinking about doing it on, I'm thinking about doing it 2 over 1 on 32 count half stitch. So I'm thinking about that. We'll see. We'll see. Then, still before I went to StitchCon, oh, I don't know if I did the Jupiter Moon then or after this next one, whatever. Then the model stitching opportunity came up. Okay, so first off, let me show you a picture of the pattern booklet as it's available for sale. So, so what I need to tell you about that, because I don't want to forget any of it. So right now, that is available as a PDF download on Etsy by Love for Cross Stitch. It's LUV 4 CrossStitch, CrossStitch. I'll have my husband put in a black screen right here that tells you, that spells that out for you in case there's any confusion. Okay, that is for the whole booklet of 3 designs. I only did the model for 1, but of 3 designs on Etsy, a PDF download for the whole thing, for all 3. And then on Facebook, there's a Facebook, I think it's a group, not a page. There's a Facebook group called, with the same name, Love for CrossStitch. And in 2 weeks, you can order that. I think you can pre-order it on the Facebook group, but in 2 weeks, the paper pattern will be available to ship. So if you want a paper pattern and not a PDF, you can get it from that Facebook group in 2 weeks. So the designer is a guy named Brian Jackins. I'm kind of excited about this guy because he for many years he worked for Dimensions, and then, you know, he doesn't work for Dimensions anymore. I don't know what the story is. He doesn't work for Dimensions anymore, but he worked for them for quite some time. And obviously he's very talented. And there's another pattern that several FlossTubers have talked about, called Boo Butterfly, and really beautiful, like Halloween-y butterfly with, you know, motifs, lots of motifs and stuff like that. A really complex looking pattern. When I saw that, I was like, oh yeah, that looks like a guy who worked for Dimensions, right? Because their patterns are, you know, their kits and stuff are really like lots of detail and, you know, French knots and back stitching, and, you know, they're good patterns. And so you can tell by looking at this guy's designs that he worked for Dimensions. So it's very exciting to me to see this guy like off on his own now and designing patterns. And so he designed Boo Butterfly, and he's been designing, and he has a website. His name is Brian Jackins, and he's, you know, his Facebook thing is Love for CrossStitch. And so you should check him out. And so I did a little model stitching for them on fabric I dyed myself, which I was quite proud of. And what I did the elf that you saw in that picture. This is me, my work. His name is Captain Timothy. And, you know, he's really cute. He's got several French knots. You know, I like French knots. A fair amount of back stitching. There's a lot of cute little details in this guy, and I'm going to finish him as an ornament to hang on my Christmas tree. And, oh, yeah, I forgot to show you all the fabric I got from Keepsakes. Well, I'm still going to show that to you. So just you hold, and we'll finish going through my WIPs. All the fabric. I didn't show you any of the fabric. So stay tuned. So that's Captain Timothy. And so I think I told you everything I was supposed to tell you. Brian Jackins, Love for CrossStitch Etsy shop, Love for CrossStitch Facebook page, and he worked for Dimensions for many years, and he's a very talented designer, and now he's designing on his own. And he's got some, like I'm excited. I'm excited about his patterns. So so there's that. Okay. We'll make our way over to the fabric in a little bit. So, then I got, I can't believe I did that. I'm such a doofus sometimes. So, then I packed up to go to StitchCon. And the night before I left, I started something new. And I worked on it that night after everything else was packed. And then I took it in my carry-on and worked on it all day on my way. It is Country Store by Told in the Garden. And I'm working on it on blue spruce because that is fabric I had on hand. And before I got on, it turned out to be a good choice for airplane, because before I got on the airplane, I had stitched the Country Store and stitched, I think the line of brown, or at least part of that. And so basically that meant that on the airplane and there's more than you can see here because there's a blue in here that's very close to the blue of the fabric. Oh, I think you can see it. Anyway, all of this and some of this, so just straight lines. So not a lot of color changing and not a lot of like having to refer to the pattern. So it was really good like travel piece. And then when I got to StitchCon, I did put in just a little itty bit in this area. I mean, it was late. I was tired. I wanted to go to the stitching room right away. Wanted to hang out and kind of wait and see Michelle Garrett. You know, I just wanted to, even though I was exhausted, basically I got there, I ran up to my I got some hugs from people, you know. I walked in the lobby and was trying to check in and got semi-mobbed by several people. I remember Diana and I believe Pam and there were a few others milling around there. I was tired and overwhelmed, and so but I remember Diana gave me a hug and made me feel welcome, and you know, sort of started me off right. And then I ran upstairs and Mitch was right there too. Not Mitch. Mitch Stitch, yeah, but she doesn't go by Mitch. Michelle from Australia, like, walked in, like, pretty much at the same time I did. And I remember Stephanie, like, running out as I walked in. Maybe because she thought she was going to go pick up Michelle right then. I can't remember. But anyway, there were several people, and I met several people, and then I was like, I got to go up to the hotel room and, like, pee and get cleaned up and feel more like a human being, and then I'll come back down. And so I went back down with my country, the country store, and I put in a few stitches, but I was so tired. And I was just sitting there, and I think Trisha at 3L Threads was down there, and Jessie Marie was there working on her Lady of the Flag, but it was like I couldn't really absorb it all. And I sat at a table by myself, not because anybody was going to reject me or anything like that, but I just found a spot like near people, but where I could kind of like gather myself and get out my stitching and put in a few stitches and just kind of listen to people and absorb. And that's what I did. And so then the next day, I got out my Death by CrossStitch. I had brought 5 projects to work on, not to mention anything I might buy while I was there. I got out my Death by CrossStitch. I'm not going to show you a picture of where it was before because it's real easy to tell you. When last you saw this project, I had done the first 4 pages. So what I did while I was there was a good chunk of this page, the 5th page. So, oh, it smells like perfume. We don't do anything scented in this house. I must have gathered something on the airplane trip. It smells perfumey. So I'm going to air it out. Oh, and that's another thing that was really, really nice that I really appreciated. Pam and Steph put in another thing, or maybe it was Barbara at Keepsakes, whatever. Somebody put in the thing, the information for this, for StitchCon was, please don't wear scents, because some people are allergic or sensitive to it. And, you know, I was really pleased because I do have issues with that stuff. Like, it's not going to kill me, but it can make me pretty miserable. And I didn't catch, in the stitching room, I didn't catch any kind of unpleasant big whiff of like perfume or obnoxious hairspray or anything that bothered me in the slightest. Nobody walked by going, ugh, they took a bath in that. You know what I mean? I really appreciated it. I know people get very attached to the scented things that they wear, and they think they don't realize how much they've put on because they get like nose blind to it. And I really appreciate that. So I have no idea why this smells like perfume, but it's awful. I'm going to have to hang it up somewhere. Because it's definitely not from me. Maybe it picked up something in the hotel room or something. I don't know. But anyway, I made really good progress on it. I was really glad I took it, but holy moly, did this cat get a lot of oohs and ahs. Now this is, you know, in my opinion, it's the best Death by CrossStitch out there. It should be, right? I mean, I should think that, right? Because it's mine, and I made the choices for what but, you know, a lot of people have done Death by CrossStitch, and I got just so many people coming going, oh my God, I have to do that. And they had it for sale at the trunk show. And they had the pattern for sale, and people bought it. Yeah. So I enabled some people, and I was happy to do so. Then the very last night, I had finally burned out on Death by CrossStitch at the very end, and I got out something that I had already started working on fabric I bought while I was there. So I showed you the pattern. And I meant to show you all the fabric first before I showed you this, but whatever. I screwed up. So this is Witch's Pets. The green that you're seeing right now, that's a little less green than it's a little, there's a little more brown. Oh. There's a little more brown to it than you're seeing. But anyway, it's a beautiful, unusual green, sort of, I think the color is moss, by Picture This Plus. It's amazing. And that is Witch's Pets, which I showed you the pattern of. And I started it at the tail end of StitchCon. I worked on it on the trip home. Got quite a bit done on the trip home in the airports and on the airplane because it was just black. It's a fairly easy pattern to follow. So I was able to get quite a lot done on the way home. And the pattern says, the pattern came with the bat, and the pattern says you need orange backing fabric. It's funny because it says you can use any kind of black you want, but you need orange backing fabric, orange background fabric. And I was like, you know me, I like to follow the rules, but I was like, no, I'm doing this on my new green fabric. I got some orange fabric at home, but I'm going to do this on my some green fabric. So, and that I started, and then I finished that on Saturday night, this Saturday night, 2 days ago. Then, I was so excited by that free pattern we got, the fireworks on the 4th, that last night, I started it on, again, some fabric that I was going to show you earlier that I got from Keepsakes. There's where I am. So that is last night and this morning. I am real excited about this. This is on 36 count dirty linen. The called for fabric is 32 count dirty linen by Zweigert. This is the 36 count version of it. Okay, now I'm going to show you my fabric haul because there's a crap ton of it. Move my coffee so I don't get any coffee dyeing on my unintentional coffee dyeing on my fabric. So I got this big piece of 36 count. I mean, it's not a big piece. It's a fat quarter, I think, plus a little extra of dirty linen and 36 count from Keepsakes. And obviously it's way too big for that project. I'll just cut it off at my leisure. Then I got a fat quarter of moss by Picture This Plus, of which I've already used some of to do that piece. This is amazing fabric. I will be ordering more of that. That's 32 count, by the way. 32 count Belfast. Okay, this I have slight regrets about because I didn't realize it when I bought it. I bought it because of the color, and most of the fabrics that I was looking at, most of them were Zweigert, and I didn't realize it, but I'm pretty sure that this is Witchelt, and Witchelt tends to tear up DMC. I can't not use this though. It is a beautiful blue. It's a slightly less than fat quarter because this is what he didn't have like quite a fat quarter left. So this is what I got. And I will use it. It feels not quite as stiff as the other Witchelt fabric I have, which is probably why I was fooled at the time I was looking at it. I didn't realize. So it might be better. Maybe it's been sitting around and been handled enough that that it's got, maybe I could soak it, I'm not sure. But it's a beautiful blue. You know, I like blue. This is Nordic blue. It's beautiful. It's, it is, I believe it, oh, it's 28 count. It's 28 count Nordic blue. But I just got it because it's beautiful blue, and I'm a sucker for blue. Speaking of blues, I got a, what I want to say this must be a fat half. Blue spruce, fat half, blue spruce, 32 count blue spruce. Not gonna unfold it all. It's got the pin in it from where the fabric guy. I sure hope his name is Joe, because I keep calling him Joe. Where Joe put the pin in it. And I want to keep it in there just so I don't forget what it is, because I'm not good at telling counts and stuff. Blind, you know, like eyeballing. I got a 28 count Amsterdam blue, a fat quarter. This is Zweigert. So this is blue spruce. It's Zweigert. This is Zweigert. 28 count Amsterdam blue, kind of a grayish greenish blue. Don't know what I'll do on it, but you know, this is a useful color. I actually think I might do my Peacock Majesty on this, which I still haven't started. My other Just Nan that I bought a while back. You may or may not recall. But it needs a 28 count bluish. It might look good on that. Okay. So then I also got, I got a 32 count Storm Clouds half yard by Picture This Plus Zweigert. I am really excited about this. I hope it'll show up on camera. It doesn't really show up very well on camera, but you could do anything on this that you would normally use white for, but it just gives you something else interesting. There are gray squirrels. There are no gray squirrels in this fabric. There are gray swirls all over this fabric. And it basically is white with gray swirls. And I got lots of ideas for this. That Sunflowers pattern by Rosewood Manor would look good on this. I could use this for, so I'm pretty sure I got half a yard of that, because I saw that and I was like, that's mine. Yeah, that's a half a yard. I definitely wanted that when I saw it. 32 count. So then I need some platinum, because Victoria's Sampler calls for 28 count platinum. Unfortunately, they only have, and I have some of it, but I don't have all I need. So I was like, I'll buy some 28 count platinum. Unfortunately, they only had a smallish thing of 28 count platinum. Like this is like a fat eighth. So this is the smallest thing I got. Fat eighth. It unfolds, so it's bigger than that if you know what a fat eighth is. But this will work for at least one Victoria's Sampler piece I have. So that's okay. You know what's funny? I have I managed to get 3 different platinums here. So I also got a fat quarter of 32 count platinum, because that's just a super useful neutral. And I got a fat half of 36 count platinum. This is the same stuff I'm doing my Death by CrossStitch in. And let's see how that 36 count platinum. Yeah, they're all, it's like 4 different colors. It's funny because this is not hand dyed. It's all linen, but you can really see it in these 3 pieces. They are 3 different colors. It's all close enough. It doesn't matter that much, but there is it is not a match. This is 3 different colors. 3 different counts and 3 different colors. But this one, the 36, is the same as the 36 count I'm using for my Death by CrossStitch, and it's a 4th color. None of them match. Whatever. I don't really understand. Like, if it's not hand dyed, why the colors aren't closer, why they're not more, you know, standard, but it's not the end of the world. Then I got, you know, 36 count is my favorite cut, my favorite count. If there's not a lot of beads and if there's no reason you need something of the larger count, 36 count is my absolute favorite to work on. So I got this, I think it said Plum Street Blend. I can't always read Joe's writing. I really hope his name is Joe. His name is Joe as far as I'm concerned. He's Joe in my head. I can't read his writing, but I'm pretty sure this said Plum Street Blend on it. And it is Zweigart. And it's a fat quarter. And it's just kind of oh, that's not the right color on there. It is a yellowish, not bright yellow certainly, but it is definitely a more yellowish. Oh, that's a little closer. A more yellowish neutral. That's real unusual. I haven't had a fabric this color, so it would work great for lots of prim stuff. 36 count. Again, Zweigart. This one is a 28. No, it's not a 28 count. It's a 40 count. Confederate Gray. It's not Zweigart, but it's not Witchell. It might be a Weeks, which I don't have a problem with. I think it's a Weeks. I might be wrong. Somebody could correct me. I don't have a problem with Weeks. Oh, you know, I'm smelling the perfume. It's something that I picked up at StitchCon in the hotel room or something. It's fine. I just have to air stuff out. The shop didn't smell like perfume, so I don't think it has anything to do with that. I think it's something at the hotel. This is a 40 count Confederate Gray, and it was so funny. It's a fat quarter, and I didn't have any actual plans for this, so so I didn't get a huge amount, you know, plus I was spending a lot of money. But as I was buying this, somebody else was going, "Oh, I love that." I was like, "That's okay. I'm only buying half of it. You can have the rest," because there was like a fat half available, and somebody fell in love with it just as I was purchasing it. So I was glad I didn't wasn't planning to take all of it from them, and they bought the other half. 40 count, and then I got at the trunk show. At the trunk show. I've been wanting to try some even higher counts. I got a 46 count Autumn by, is it Under the Sea? Yeah, Under the Sea Fabrics, which I've never owned an Under the Sea Fabrics before. I got a fat half of 46 count Autumn. This is a beautiful neutral. I got all kinds of ideas for this. I've never used a 46 count before. But I have really good lighting with a really good magnifier. And I don't think it's going to be a problem. I think I'm going to really love it. And you know, spots of it have more dramatic modeling, but you know, I don't care. It's a good it's a good fabric. And hopefully 46 count shapes up to work for me. Because I love that fabric. I'm very excited about it. Okay, now color and cotton. I got a couple of 36 count Edinburgh linens. 17 by 26, both of them. So, fat quarter, right? So this, these don't have names because they say limited edition. Now, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Pinks are not my thing, so why on earth did I buy this sucker? I do not know. But I could not pass that up. That is such a dramatic color. It is such a, if I was going to like pink, it's a perfect pink. It reminds me of Bubblegum by, not actual Bubblegum, but the Bubblegum Thread by Gast, which of course I couldn't stitch on this because you wouldn't see it. But it reminds me of Bubblegum. I don't know what I'm going to do with this. I have come across a few patterns that I kind of thought about doing that would work on this. I just have no idea. But for whatever reason, I couldn't not get this. Even though I'm not a pinky person in general. I will do something on it because it's gorgeous. And if it sits for 5 years, maybe I'll give it away. But it's a limited edition. It doesn't have a name. Just says limited edition. So, you know, can't help you there if you want it. This one also is limited edition. This one is more, I can see more things to do. I've definitely come across things that would be good for, ooh. It's a very lemony yellow. It's also 36 count. Oh, you're not getting a good, it's not that bright. It's yellow. It is straight up lemon yellow. For some reason it's having trouble with this. Let me sneak it up on there. There we go. That's better. It's a very, very lemony yellow. So that is all the fabric I got. I did good. I spent every dime plus $2.60. And it made me happy because I wanted to go there and spend money, and I did, and supported a small business, and had a good old time. They said they had their, not on the second day, but the first day, Friday. I guess technically the first day was Thursday, but Friday, I spent more money on Saturday, but Friday, they said, was their biggest sales day ever in the history of the store. I think they said the store has been open 20 years, and Friday they made more money than they ever have on any other single day. And it makes me happy to know that, you know, because they worked hard, they put together a good event, and they should make a profit off of it. That makes me very happy. So anyway, that was a really long video, and now you still got to watch my husband for a few minutes. Not that you have to, but you know. So I had a very good time at StitchCon, obviously, and I'm excited to be back and stitching all the things. And I've now lost my list, so I don't know if I said everything I was gonna say, but I certainly have said enough. So if I missed something, I'll just have to talk at you later. Anyway, I'll be back in a couple of weeks. Bye-bye.
Getting the shoes back on after going through security. So now we're in the Salt Lake City airport, waiting for our flight to Cincinnati.
Are you taking video?
Yay, air travel is fun. She put her coat and stuff in the wrong car.
I'm not doing that again just for you.
Wasn't there one time when you went, like, actually went and sat in a car and it was...
Oh no, I almost did though. I didn't.
But they look the same though. I mean, this is the rental car, and that's the one that she was like breaking into. So this is the CrossStitch place. It's very pretty.
I'm in the fabric land. Same thing. Does that make sense to you? Yeah.
So I'm going to do a walkthrough of this store so that you can see everything that's on the walls and the bins and stuff like that. Now, the nice thing is you can pause the video and get a closer look at any of these items. So that's what we're doing. This is a really neat store because it's an old house, and as you can see, all the rooms have cross-stitch stuff in them, like on the walls and in bins, and it's really neat. So, you know, if you could say that Cincinnati is a shithole, this store is definitely not a shithole. Seems like a very nice cross-stitch store. Now, My plan is after this, I'm gonna go find a used record store, because that's what I collect, is vinyl, specifically vinyl that I want, which has no real rhyme or reason, except it might be stuff that I've listened to when I was younger, and or stuff that I like now and I want. I've been really into Pink Floyd lately, but anyway, not CrossStitch stuff, sorry. So yeah, look at these walls. Feel free to pause the video. It's gonna be me in a couple hours. I'm going to a record store and I'm gonna dig through the old 99-cent bins and see what I can find.
Sometimes you just really stumble upon some great stuff in these bins.
Yes. This room is all floss. Look at this. It's on the walls and it just kind of goes on forever. And then in the middle of the room, there are these bins. Look at that. And then there's these things on the floor with a whole bunch of patterns. So my first walking adventure is Sharonsville. I dropped Christine off at the CrossStitch store, and now I'm just kind of wandering around town. And it's kind of neat. There's lots of brick buildings and trees, and there's a vintage toy store back there I might have to go check out. It's not super warm today. I can walk around. I'm feeling a little humid, but otherwise it's not too bad. There's a lot of vehicle traffic. That tree's kind of interesting. So I'm waiting for Christine. I bought some Star Wars action figures for work, because I don't know what I'm gonna do now. Sit in the air-conditioned car. It's actually getting kind of warm out there. So I'm still waiting for Christine at the CrossStitch place, and I'm in Sharon Woods Park. And there's a trail over here. Hey. Yeah, look at this park. It's really nice. And I guess the good news is it's pretty darn close to the hotel, and they've got lakes and hiking trails. I mean, all right, it's a paved path. It's not really a hiking trail, but I still feel like I'm out in the woods, so that's good. And you know, does any of this look like a hole? I don't think so. The river has a slightly muddier look than what I'm used to. Look, I'm harassing the wildlife. Yeah, I'm harassing you. Look, I found a lake.